Hello and welcome to this video on the life and times of one of the most iconic figures of the 20th century, Winston Churchill. In this video, we will take a deep dive into the life of this remarkable man, his early years, his political career, and his legacy. Winston Churchill was born on November 30, 1874, in Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire, England. He was the eldest son of Lord Randolph Churchill, a prominent politician, and Jenny Jerome, an American socialite. Growing up, Churchill was educated at Harrow School and later attended the Royal Military College at Sandhurst. Churchill's political career began in 1900 when he was elected to the House of Commons as a member of the Conservative Party. He quickly rose through the ranks and became a cabinet minister in 1908. However, in 1911, he left the Conservative Party and joined the Liberals, where he served as Home Secretary and later as First Lord of the Admiralty. Churchill's political career was not without its setbacks, and he experienced several defeats and resignations. However, he remained a prominent figure in British politics and played a crucial role in the country's affairs during World War II. Churchill's leadership during World War II is perhaps his most significant legacy. As Prime Minister, Churchill rallied the British people during the darkest days of the war and inspired them to keep fighting against Nazi Germany. His speeches, such as his famous "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" address, became rallying cries for the nation. Churchill's leadership during the war was not without controversy, and he made several difficult decisions, such as the bombing of Dresden and the use of chemical weapons. However, he believed that these actions were necessary to defeat the enemy and protect the British people. After the war, Churchill remained an influential figure in British politics and continued to serve in various government positions. He was also a prolific writer and won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953. Churchill died on January 24, 1965, at the age of 90, and was given a state funeral. Churchill's legacy is far-reaching, and he is remembered as one of the greatest statesmen of the 20th century. His leadership during World War II and his speeches continue to inspire people around the world. Churchill's famous quote, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts," remains a guiding principle for many. What were some of Churchill's most famous speeches? Winston Churchill was known for his powerful and inspiring speeches, many of which are still remembered and quoted today. Here are some of his most famous speeches. "We Shall Fight on the Beaches." This speech was delivered on June 4, 1940, during the early days of World War II, when Britain was facing a possible invasion by Nazi Germany. In this speech, Churchill rallied the British people, saying, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. Blood, toil, tears, and sweat." This speech was delivered on May 13, 1940, shortly after Churchill became Prime Minister of Britain. In this speech, Churchill set out his vision for the war effort, saying, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." This speech was delivered on August 20, 1940, during the Battle of Britain, when the Royal Air Force was fighting off daily attacks by the German Luftwaffe. In this speech, Churchill paid tribute to the bravery of the pilots of the RAF, saying, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." Iron Curtain. This speech was delivered on March 5, 1946, in Fulton, Missouri, during a visit by Churchill to the United States. In this speech, Churchill warned of the growing influence of the Soviet Union in Eastern Europe, saying, "From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an Iron Curtain has descended across the continent." Finest Hour. This speech was delivered on June 18, 1940, during a debate in the House of Commons on the evacuation of British troops from Dunkirk. In this speech, Churchill praised the bravery of the British people and predicted that they would emerge victorious in the war, saying, "Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that, if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour." In addition to his leadership during World War II, Winston Churchill had a long and distinguished career in British politics and made many notable contributions to British history. Here are some of his other accomplishments. Churchill served in a variety of high-level government positions, including as Chancellor of the Exchequer, Home Secretary, and First Lord of the Admiralty. He was a Member of Parliament for over 60 years. In 1946, Churchill delivered his famous Iron Curtain speech in Fulton, Missouri, in which he warned of the dangers of Soviet expansionism and the need for the Western powers to stand together against the Soviet Union. As I mentioned earlier, Churchill was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953 for his literary and historical works. Churchill's government introduced a number of important social reforms, including the National Health Service and the National Insurance Act, which provided a safety net for the poorest members of society. Churchill was one of the architects of the United Nations, and he played a key role in shaping the organization in its early years. Churchill was also a talented artist and spent much of his free time painting. He completed over 500 paintings in his lifetime. Churchill had a long and varied military career, serving in the British Army, the Royal Navy, and the Royal Air Force. He saw action in several conflicts, including the Second Boer War and World War I. In addition to his historical and political writings, Churchill was also a prolific journalist and wrote for a number of newspapers and magazines throughout his career. Churchill was known for his powerful oratory and delivered many famous speeches throughout his career, including his "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" speech, delivered during the Battle of Britain in 1940. Churchill is widely regarded as one of the greatest British statesmen of all time, and his legacy continues to be felt in British politics and society. He is celebrated for his leadership during World War II, his contributions to British democracy and social welfare, and his unwavering commitment to freedom and democracy. Churchill was married for over 50 years to his wife, Clementine, and they had 5 children together. He was also known for his love of animals and kept a menagerie of pets, including dogs, cats, and birds. Overall, Winston Churchill was a remarkable figure who made many important contributions to British and world history. His leadership, courage, and determination continue to inspire people around the world today. In the 1930s, Churchill was a vocal opponent of the British policy of appeasement towards Nazi Germany. He argued that the policy would only embolden Hitler and lead to war, and he was proven right when World War II broke out in 1939. After the end of World War II, Churchill's Conservative Party was defeated in the 1945 general election, and he spent several years in the political wilderness. However, he returned to power in 1951 and served as Prime Minister for another 4 years. Churchill played a key role in shaping British policy during the early years of the Cold War, and he was a strong advocate for the Western powers to stand together against communist expansionism. Churchill was knighted in 1953 and was also awarded numerous other honors and titles throughout his career, including the Order of Merit, the Order of the Garter, and the Companion of Honor. Churchill was not without his controversies, and he has been criticized for his views on race and his handling of certain military campaigns, such as the Gallipoli campaign during World War I. Overall, Winston Churchill's life and career were marked by both triumphs and challenges. However, his contributions to British and world history cannot be denied, and he remains a towering figure in the annals of British politics and culture. These are just a few of the many fascinating facts about Winston Churchill. He was a complex and multifaceted figure who continues to captivate and inspire people around the world today. Thank you for watching this video on the life and times of Winston Churchill. We hope you enjoyed learning about this remarkable man and his legacy. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content.